Guys, John Harbaugh is just an absolute moron. I mean, like, I think that game that Derrick Henry just had kind of tells you that this team missed the playoffs. Again, it is all on him. But at this moment, they're still technically alive, so go Browns, I guess.
Point Raven lead. Henry to the outside. Oh, get off me! Off me! When Matt LaFleur said they babied us.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Oh, God!
Stroud is throwing. Stroud is running. Stroud is sacked with a flag down in the secondary.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 29.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome to sunny Southern California for a big-time Saturday showdown between the Houston Texans and the Los. He goes deep for Higgins. Higgins. Touchdown, Texans, 75 yards. Over the middle. And he's got another open receiver for a touchdown. It's Noel on Christmas. Stroud. Intercepted. Intercepted by Derwin James. And Cameron Dicker is good. Goes deep for Johnston. He has him. Johnston. Connection. Herbert from the pocket over the middle. Up in the air and picked. Off the hands of Gadsden into Al-Shair. Stroud over the middle. Intercepted. Holy smoke.
You haven't played very good offensively. You'll take it.
And Dicker, the kicker. And he... Herbert keeps, rolls, touchdown! Gadsden! Up a huge 44-yarder for Fairbairn. And he splits it. Second and goal from the Houston 5. They're going to hand it off to Hampton. Touchdown!
That solves everything.
Dicker misses!
And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe if you guys are ready for a crazy Sunday of football. But you just saw in this past game and on Saturday, two big-time games go down. One of them was close. The other one was very pleasantly surprising, as the Texans here in this first game were able to hold on and knock out the Chargers 20-16. Despite, if I'm not mistaken, not even getting the red zone after that first drive. Yeah, that's rough. They didn't get in the red zone once this entire game. Still were able to win at 20-16, holding on as they showed, or they flexed their defensive prowess in this one. Moved to 11-5, still alive for the division technically going into next week, which will be their hopefully not their last home game of the season. Is we'll be playing the Colts at home. It is also the Texans' second time. There's only been 17th in NFL history that started 0-3 and still made the playoffs. They've done that twice. 2018 they did it with Deshaun Watson. Didn't want to have to mention him in this, but again, we had to bring him up because of that. Then they did it this year, too, so that's pretty good. They've made it a playoff record 3 consecutive years in the playoffs, so again, not a playoff record. Franchise record, 3 consecutive seasons in the playoffs, good for them, but again, they're trying to win the division, so we'll see what happens there. Also, have won 8 straight games now. They are 1 away from tying that 2018 9-win record, if I'm not mistaken, for the most in history. Let's see. Longest win streak, Texans history. I think it's got to be that, right? 2018? Yeah, it was 2018, so they were a game away from tying that record. But you look at the Chargers, it was a massively disappointing performance. Offensive line was absolutely atrocious in this game. They fell to 11-5. They again, big concerns continue to show up here as it was their first loss since again against another AFC South team in the Jags. And I talked about it a lot. Again, with the predictions and preview for this game, how big of a loss this is for the Chargers. Not only have they lost out our chance of hosting a playoff game, but also in any wild fashion, there's probably in the case that they were they would end up even getting a home playoff game as a wild card, which is has that ever happened? Let's see. Has a wild card team ever hosted a playoff game? But it's extremely rare and specific. Yeah, okay. When does it happen? When Has a wild card team hosted a playoff game in NFL? Has it ever happened? Let's see. AI, brainstorm this. I can't think of anything. The very first wild card playoff game was hosted. No, this is not what I was talking about. Oh. 8 Oakland Raiders. Wait, 4 seed. That's not what I'm talking about. When has a wild card team hosted a playoff? Yeah, overview. Before 2002, when the number 4 seed, best wild card hosted, but even now, of all high seeds, again, has it ever happened? I'm so confused. Has an NFL wild card team under the 6-team format ever hosted a playoff game? I want to know. When did it happen? Bro, they're not telling me. I mean, it's possible, yes, but like, has it ever happened? So, sorry about this taking this long. But for the Chargers, guys, they're not, again, if you're the 7th seed, it's impossible to host a playoff game, but, which is where they're probably going to end up, but that's why I meant this was so critical, because not only do they lose their chance of that, but even then, if they were somehow like the 5 seed, the probability of just so you guys know, the probability of a wild card team hosting a playoff game, Jesus, is basically like so improbable. First things first, like if we think 6 and 5 is the only way they can again host a playoff game is, well, for the 5 seed, the only way they can host a playoff game, or there's technically 2 ways, but the main way is if the 7 seeds and the 6 seeds both upset the 2 and 3 seeds, which means they would be the highest remaining seed other than the 1 seed. 1 seed already has a home playoff game in the divisional. I just wanted to mention this in terms of like an overall thing here. So then that means the Bills, as a 5 seed, will host the 6 seed in the divisional. But the only way the 6 seed could end up hosting a playoff game is if both the 6 and 7 seeds go to the AFC Championship. Just wanted to say, like, in terms of this. But again, for the Chargers here, they lost out their chance of playing home field. That's, again, the biggest thing with this loss. Also, they're going to be probably the 7 seed having to go either to, I don't know, Duval, they got blown out, or had to go to New England. So, Chargers is a really bad loss. Again, it was very disappointing. They should have won this game. Their defense played out of their minds after those first 2 insane touchdowns they gave up. But again, the offense, again, I think they moved the ball pretty well towards the end of that game, but at the end of the day, they didn't get it done. It was just that simple. But with Chargers next week, they'll be heading to Denver for a game they still want to probably win, because there's definitely a chance they could still, I guess, technically get a higher seed in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know, see the Texans or Bills losing, so they're probably locked in. If I'm them, I just rest my starters. But Jim Harbaugh, you're going to do what you're going to do, but at the same time, you have the highest sack quarterback in the league, and he's going to hit a lot more than those 54 sacks would tell you. Also, guys, it's kind of crazy that the 54 sacks is the highest. Again, it's good for, again, the health of quarterbacks, but only 54 sacks is the highest. At least so far this year, we've seen a quarterback get sacked. So I guess that's good. Not for Justin Herbert, obviously, but you get the point. So maybe if I was them, maybe we just rest the starters. But anyway, for the Texans in this game, C.J. Stroud was absolutely atrocious after the first quarter, but he threw a 75-yard bomb to open up the game. Then he threw another bomb to Jalen. No offense to Iraq, but as you guys can see, that was definitely the biggest thing about this game. This offense, they couldn't run the ball. Again, they need a starting running back, guys. Without Joe Mixon, this running game is just absolutely atrocious. Jordan, I think, did pretty good. Woody Marks did a big carry to get them outside or a big run to get them outside of, again, like the goal line or the shadow of the goalpost. But at the same time, like this offense, especially the offensive line, they just weren't effective in this game. They weren't exactly bad, because I really think they did an actual decent job with their protection, but at the same time, it just wasn't good enough, and the fact, again, can't run the ball, it's going to hurt them in the playoffs, as good as this defense is. At receiving, like I said, Jalen Higgins with the long touchdown, big play from Jalen Noel. Nico Collins, again, had a huge third-down conversion there, again, on the last drive. Then, obviously, Christian Kirk drew that flag on the holding to end this game. But, guys, offensively, they were not good enough in this game, despite those 2 big plays. And C.J. Stroud, again, you just got to be better than this in the playoffs, because, again, I'm telling you, they're not going to be winning this game in the playoffs, again, if this is what's going to happen. For this I mean, maybe they do, who knows. This defense is just, again, good enough, I guess. But you look at how this defense played. Jalen Petrie kind of roasted me because he was absolutely dominant in this game. Will Anderson got some pressure, not as much as this would indicate. Derrick Barnett, I don't know. He was out there, rotational guy. I guess he had 2 sacks. Didn't really notice that. Azeez Al-Shaair was absolutely fantastic, even though, very not a very well-liked player. Daniel Hunter had like 8 pressures, something like that. Nico Autry shredded through guys. He had a big-time game. Other than that, though, really the thing with the secondary was they had their issues in terms of their boundary discipline, especially Kamari Lassiter in this game, who still played really well, but he definitely was like the one thing there. Then again, I wouldn't say Derrick Stingley brought his A game either in this one, but overall this defense still did well enough to win this game. Again, they're the best in football. What else am I going to say there? Again, that's the biggest takeaway you can have from this. For the Chargers, though, everyone's saying you needed to protect Justin Herbert, but honestly in this game there were a couple plays where I think he had a throw. Armando Gatson is a very frustrating player right now because he's a very athletic and gifted player, but you guys saw he dropped that pass. That's just, again, you can't drop it. We're talking about Bo Melton a little bit. Very similar thing with him. Lyle McConkey, again, he's had a really rough second sophomore season, guys. Yeah, he does, it has not been the season for him, and again, they needed him in this one to step up, and he just simply didn't. I will say, though, Quentin Johnson had a big game, again, 60-yard catch, also made another nice place. He got bracketed in that entire last drive, though, so the fact he still made some plays was pretty cool. But honestly, guys, when it came to this Chargers offense, again, I don't think Justin Herbert did the greatest job diagnosing the coverage looks he got consistently, especially, again, kind of reacting post-snap, which is where he's going to have to be good, because with this offensive line, sometimes just getting absolutely cooked. Like, what are you going to do? I will say, though, the analysis is that this offensive line just completely fell apart isn't entirely true, because there were some sustained blocks from those tackles that kind of allowed Justin Herbert to step up, and I will say that the interior of the offensive line relatively did a decent job, but at the same time, Omarion Hampton had a struggle bus in this game, too. They really couldn't create many holes for him. That was probably, again, the biggest criticism of anything I can give for this offensive line. But anyway, for this defense, Derwin James was very good. Tariq Still was pretty good. Elijah Molden, I think, did do a decent job in coverage. He wasn't great in terms of his tackling, though. Dayan Henley probably had his worst game of the season in coverage. He had one play where he was well over the middle of the field and just completely vacated it to try to take a crossing route for whatever reason. Again, a guy was already locked up. Khalil Mack, I think he might have had 2 pressures. That was probably the one criticism I have for this defense, especially off the edge. They just did not win consistently enough. They weren't bad, but again, it wasn't like, again, what we've seen the past couple weeks, and then a guy like Tier Tart was just a complete waste of space there in the middle of the field this entire game. He obviously is a very solid run defender, but it was not, again, the case in this one. Again, you can see yardage-wise, the Texans outgained them by a decent amount, but again, it wasn't like they were completely dominating this game. Their offense kind of fell asleep after the first 2 big plays. And honestly, guys, the Chargers should have won this game. They were, in my opinion, the better team. But again, when you have a defense on the Texans side that can just completely shut an offense down, this is the results you get. But again, Digger, the kicker, again, he was not out there in this game. He single-handedly technically lost them this game. But that's all I have for you guys here. I hope if you're a Texans fan, you guys celebrate making the playoffs for the 3rd straight year. But I'll see y'all for this next game.
On a traditionally frigid night in December from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, it's a battle of 2 teams that could really use a win. Henry up the gut. Henry, second effort into the end zone. Touchdown. Willis will throw on 1st down and loft one towards the sideline. It is caught. Romeo Dobbs got a step on Wiggins. 1st down and 20 from the 39. Willis, another dart, another catch. It's Watson for the touchdown. Is in. Henry has the football. Henry has the touchdown. His 14th touchdown of the season. 4th and inches. They will go. It is Jacobs. He won't get it. The Baltimore defense is right there. And the 22-yard chip shot is true. Another stop. Oh, that is another bad snap. It's taken in by the Ravens. Baltimore was right there with Mike Green. Missed the 3, all of them coming from 50+, and that will continue for 133 yards and a touchdown. And he'll keep it here, running himself with space to move. Touchdown! Malik gets shifty. Pitch it, Henry. Henry's going to get his 3rd. Touchdown, Baltimore. It's a first-half hat trick for the King. Willis out of the pocket, fires on the run, open, caught, Jaden Reed. Total plays, that was 10 plays. The 11th is a field goal from McMahon coming into the game. They won't bring many here. Loft it, open with a step, it's Milton. He vacuums it in for a big gain down the sideline. Willis pulls, Willis runs, Willis scores. Touchdown, Green Bay. From the 29, pitch it to him. Good block by Ricard. Henry gets to the outside. Here's the speed by Henry. Down the sideline. Looking towards the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. Zay Flowers. They'll throw it. And it's through the hands and picked off with one hand available to him. Marlon Humphrey. Derrick Henry with a hole. Derrick Henry. Touchdown. His 4th of the night.
Alright, guys, Ravens are still alive for a playoff spot. As you guys just saw the highlights from that sucker, as the Ravens are able to blow the doors off the Packers, I guess, in terms of how many points they put up. 41-24. Packers defense has really struggled the past 3 weeks. We're just going to put it at that. Ravens moved 8-8, though, and are either going to be playing a meaningless game next week in Pittsburgh, which I think will be the case, or not. I don't know. Maybe the Steelers actually lose that one. Again, they have lost 3 straight in Cleveland. But for the Ravens right now, they do need the Steelers to lose. If the Steelers lose, they will have a chance, a win-and-in scenario. My guess is that game would be on Sunday Night Football next Sunday. We'll just have to wait for that, though. Packers, though, are 9-6-1. They are now officially locked in the 7th seed, voiding that Vikings in Packers game next week to any meeting. So that's good. I guess we can finally just get rid of that game. But still, Packers injuries-wise, I would not start anyone next week. I would literally just have everyone heal up because, again, that really, guys, the reason the Packers lost this game in a lot of ways was because their edge defenders were absolutely atrocious against the run. And also, they didn't have their starting quarterback. Again, Malik Willis played out of his mind, which again kind of gives them all the credit. So you could argue, even if they did have Jordan Love, they wouldn't have won this game. But again, you want your starting quarterback for the playoffs. It's that simple. You saw them last year. They got absolutely embarrassed by the Eagles in the wild card. Again, you're just going to need again as healthy as possible roster here. You don't want to get embarrassed in that first round. And I will guarantee you they're either heading to Chicago because again the Bears with this Packers loss will win the division, which again is a very winnable game, guys. The Bears. Again, they should have beat them a couple weeks ago with their backup quarterback. So you want to play the Bears in that game, but again, you got to be as healthy as you possibly can in that one. Again, it would be a lot worse if they faced an NFC West team, but at the same time, again, if you're the Packers, you're going to want to play that Bears team. You're not obviously not even close to fully healthy, but if you're that Packers fan, you're like, I want to play Chicago in that what is called wild card game. Honestly, I might even pick them to win it. But anyways, you guys can see here, again, they were a 7 seed. They won again a much better I won't say much better, a better Cowboys team going to the playoffs back in 2023 and blow the doors with them. Again, I'm not going to say the Bears are, again, they're definitely a worse team, not that much worse though. All right, here on the Ravens, Tyler Huntley did exactly what he's supposed to in this game, took care of the football, made some easy throws underneath and had a nice touchdown as Zay Flowers. Exactly what you need out of Tyler Huntley in this game. I have no complaints. And also, guys, he is the only, again, for the Ravens this year, they only beat in 2 games against teams with records above 500. Against teams with a record above 500. That was the Packers in this one, and then they also beat the Bears back in Week 8. Both those wins were with Tyler Huntley. I will say Tyler Huntley definitely served a little bit more of a scrambling role in that win back in Week 8, but at the same time, he did exactly what he needed to. No issues with how he played. Derrick Henry, though, he had again a game for the ages. He broke the NFL record for the most 200-yard rushing games in his career with 7 now. Absolutely monster day, 4 touchdowns. He just bowled over everyone. There's really nothing better you can say about him. He just came out to play and said, yeah, I'm one of the best running backs in football, and he's, again, now 10th all-time in rushing. But yeah, John Harbaugh, again, if this team ends up getting a chance to win next, I honestly don't think they deserve to make the playoffs, guys, just considering how their season's gone. But this season's entirely on John Harbaugh if they don't make the playoffs. It's just because you look at that game last week and you look how he played in this game. It's just insane that they, again, I understand it was 2 drives, it was like 8 plays, but rotations, guys. Todd Monken, bro, you got to give the ball to Derrick Henry. I mean, it's that simple. On those last 2 drives, like, you got to ice the game away. I don't even give it the ball. Again, if they gave the ball to him 6 times, and they stacked the box every single play, and they just kept running with Derrick Henry, I would have said taking that every single time over whatever the hell they try to do there. Insane decision making, guys. Anyone could have done that. I'm going to continue to freaking criticize them the entire offseason again if it doesn't end up working out. If it ends up working out, I don't care. They have a chance to do something. I'll say that if they end up winning a playoff game, cool. But at the same time, this is inexcusable with what happened against the Patriots last week. I understand it was last week and he kind of like redeemed himself here, but again, this might have been too little, too late, to be honest with you guys. Receiving, Zay Flowers had a good game. Other than that, no one really got involved. I will say Mark Andrews had a pretty big feature role in one drive. That was really about it. But again, the offensive line dominated. Amazing blocking from these receivers as well. Hell of a job from them. Rashad Bateman, he came to play. Great run blocking design as well. Again, just hats off to them in that asset or that again mindset there. But again, I'm gonna keep asking. Does this even matter? Again, Derrick Henry should have gotten this many carries last week. It baffles me that's what happened. Again, also double the workload. He literally had double the amount of carries he had last week. Anyway, back to this game. Here we are with the secondary. Nate Wiggins had a rough game. He just simply got roasted a lot and just completely exploited. He's the fastest player in the field almost every week. I think he's an elite cornerback when he's playing at his best, but definitely didn't look like it in this game. Anyone could have told you that. I mean, again, I'd like to say he played well, but I'm not going to really say that because, again, even on tape, again, I'm not going to, you don't even need to watch tape to see how he played. I mean, I did, but at the same time, it was a rough one for him. Both, again, Roquan Smith played pretty well. Trenton Simpson looked lost out there. He's just not a starting caliber player. Tavius Robinson was nasty in this game. He had a couple gross spin moves. Both safeties looked like all-pros in this one. Alohi Gilman obviously isn't an all-pro. He hasn't really played even close to that since 2023. But still had a good game. Marlon Humphrey, he's had a weird year. He got his 4th pick of the season, though. Took advantage of that brick of a drop from Bo Mellon. Travis Jones had a sack and a half. Again, good for him. You make it up for whatever UConn did getting that Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Also, guys, did you know Wasabi is a tech company? I had no idea. But anyway, other than that, this defense played pretty well. Again, they got shredded. The secondary got shredded. I'm not going to lie about that. But overall, somewhat decent pressure. Again, they didn't really, honestly, guys, the biggest thing was they didn't, again, let the Packers run on them, which is probably the only thing you really want. We're going to ask out of them. For the Packers, Malik Willis played out of his mind, looked like a starting quarterback, 18 of 21, 288, a touchdown. I will say he didn't have to make too many reads, but at the same time, he just made all the throws he was supposed to, and was making a lot of high-level plays, which, again, is just, again, how it went. Josh Jacobs, he only got 4 carries, but honestly, guys, I don't know if you really wanted to give him any more. This game kind of got out of hand very quick, and when you get 27 points the first half, you're not going to be running the ball a lot. So, again, Josh Jacobs, really rough fantasy week for him, but at the same time, Malik Willis scrambled a lot, so I guess you got something with that. But Clayton Tune really didn't lose them this game. Again, it was that interception there that really sucked on the Bo Mellon drop. He's not going to get cut, but I mean, like, bro, you got to be kidding me. Christian Watson had the first 100-yard Packers receiving game since Tucker Kraft tore his ACL. Again, I know that stings Packers fans back in Week 8. Romeo Doubs, again, I think he is their leading receiver, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. He is, like, 724. What is Christian Watson have? He might have more. No, he doesn't. But the same. Again, biggest thing with this Packers offense, they were able to move the ball explosively through the air, which is, again, a good sign. At the same time, they got to be a little bit better, again, the rest of the season. Defensively, they got absolutely ran over. There's no other way to put it. Quay Walker's looked horrible. Isaiah McDuffie at least tackled. Ederson Cooper, I don't know what he was really doing out there. Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney did not come to play. Lucas Van Ness was about the worst run defender I've ever seen. He's never really been a good run defender. You can make that evaluation coming out of the draft. He looked about as bad as it gets in this one. Kingsley Enagbare is a decent rotational pass rusher. Again, when you don't have Michael Parsons, you have to play him, and you reap the benefits. Rashawn Gary didn't show up. Again, Carrington Valentine, I mean, that one stiff arm you guys saw in the intro kind of tells you everything. Nate House, not mistaken, got injured. And this defense just got completely, again, they're not on the road, but at the same time, like, they basically got their, again, for New Year's, they basically got their legs, what do they call them? They were basically folded into a pretzel in this game. I'm just going to say it like that. And this really tells you everything. That, again, Ravens controlled the ball for 40 minutes. I think it was like at one point, it was like 15 minutes possession for the Ravens, 1 minute possession for the Packers. Something ridiculous like that, guys. Ravens just came to play and completely spanked them. 307 rushing yards. Again, insane to 80 yards. Again, just absolute spanking in that. That's it, despite the Packers having a lot of explosives. That's all I have for you guys here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll see y'all for the recap and all the updated playoff picture again for Sunday tomorrow. Also, get ready for that Monday Night Football prediction. It should be coming out sometime on Monday morning, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your Sunday again as the holidays roll on.
Hold on, Slam and Strawberry. Wait, where are you going? Wait, oh no! Slam and Strawberry! We might need to do a wellness check.